That's the sound of a big deal. At Wayfair, that sound happens a lot. Dream sofa for half the price? Big deal. New dining table you've been eyeing for months? Big deal. Finally picking up those last few pieces and finishing that bedroom? Now that's a really big deal. Whatever your home needs, Wayfair has the selection, the savings, and over millions of 5-star reviews to back it up. Shop wayfair.com today before someone else snags your big deal.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Why are the 3 C's of business and life important, and how can we benefit from their use? Stay tuned and find out.
Welcome.
Okay, here's the question.
Serious?
How are we dark horses? You know, the ones everyone is betting against, the ones they don't expect to win, place, or even show on the track, and they'll even laugh on us when we talk about trying. How do we show the world our greatness and triumph?
Come on.
Well, that's the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. This is The Dark Horse Entrepreneur. My name is Tracy Brinkman.
And push it up.
Welcome back to your weekly dose of 3C Learning. I'm your Dark Horse host, Tracy Brinkman, and you? Well, that's infinitely more important. You are a driven entrepreneur, or you're one in the making. Either way, you're here because you're ready to start, restart, kickstart, or just start leveling up with some great marketing, personal, or business results in order to build that beautiful business of yours into the empire it absolutely deserves to be. Whew! We got another big interview episode today. Today, Angela Giles shares the importance of the 3 C's of life and business and reminds us to be authentic. Plus, I'm going to let you in on next episode's guest who knows it's not just all about the sales, it's about the human connection. All right, as per usual, the Dark Horse Corrals are chock full of business, personal, and marketing GOLD spilling from every corner of the Dark Horse HQ. So let's get to the starting gates and go. All right, my Dark Horse friends and family, today's guest is Angela Giles. Now, Angela is a self-made businesswoman, an author, a speaker, and a consultant leading people along their path to success. Now, she's one of the most sought-after business coaches in lead generation on the West Coast. You see, Angela offers her clients a dynamic program. My tongue is tripping over my eye teeth. I can't see what I'm saying. Anyway, she offers her clients this dynamic program that is based on the simple secrets for big results. She's committed to helping independent entrepreneurs, business owners, and professionals accelerate their business problems and increase their bottom lines. She has helped her clients achieve 6-figure launches and go from making mediocre sales to effortlessly generating millions, thousands of dollars in a few short weeks. So I know we're going to have a little bit of knowledge learning here from this lady. Angela, welcome to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur.
Well, thank you so much. I love the name Dark Horse Entrepreneur, by the way. So
thank you.
To be here. I've been looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I think we all go through that time when we feel like that dark horse, you know, whether it's for a short period of time or a long period of time. So it tends to, get a little bit of attention. I'm hoping for anyway. So I want to take a moment and just pause. I'll shut up. I want you to tell your story, what you've been through, what you've gone through, all the, the winding road that brought you to where you are and why you love doing what you do so much.
Well, I will tell you this. Mine is probably one of those stories where I'm very stubborn. So I will push until I make something work, which sometimes I think is not always the best thing. But back in the day, 18 years ago, I decided I was making close to 6 figures with bonuses working in a telecom company in San Diego.
Mm-hmm.
And I had I had one and a baby on the way. And I was tired. I was sick and tired of not seeing my kids. I was one of those kind of things. My husband took my son to daycare. I left at 6:30 in the morning, sometimes 6:15, didn't get home till 7 at night, never saw my 2-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
And so I decided I'm not doing this with 2 babies. So I quit. And long story short, I started a daycare thinking I could make a little money. My husband was making $32,000 a year. That wasn't enough money. Our house payment alone was $4,000 with everything, all the taxes and stuff.
Sure.
In San Diego. We moved to Utah. The challenge is we had another baby. I got sick and tired. Daycare wasn't cutting it for me. I was good at it, but it didn't make me any money.
Mm-hmm.
We just didn't have the money anymore. And I started looking online. I saw all these men back then making tons of money. It was back in the day when you could throw a website up, say I'm open, and people showed up and you could sell. It was the wild, wild west.
Right.
And I thought, okay, I'm smart. I was in the IT field. I used to manage men, right? I can like reverse engineer this. So I decided to reverse engineer it. But before that happened, my house, one morning, I had joined an MLM and I went out with a friend at 5 a.m. and we were out like putting, I spent like my last $57, you know, that we had extra in the account. And I had made flyers and we were putting them on the doors of, we called the rich people part of town. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
And so we came back and I went to bed. I went back to bed. I had holy underwear on and it was 7 a.m. and I heard this boom, this pop. And I'm like, what the hell is that? And I started smelling smoke. We had 3 little kids, like under like 4 or 5 years old. My garage had caught on fire.
Oh no.
So I just remember my husband running out the front door. I'm running out the back door with the babies. I had holes in my underwear, and I remember thinking that firemen were there screaming at my husband, don't open the garage because, you know, the oxygen and air, all the neighbors were coming. And I'm like, they probably think it's domestic abuse, this whole crazy thing.
Right.
And it was, our house was situated in a way when the firemen came, they had to put a ladder from the neighbors for me to crawl over. And I remember having a t-shirt on and holy underwear thinking, oh my Lord, I should have spent that last bit of money and buy new underwear. My mom always told me, you know. So that was kind of the thing that made me think, okay, I got to do something different.
Mm-hmm.
So what I did is we had no money back then, just my husband, and I got a nanny. I put all my kids in one room. I hired a nanny. She came in and she got free room and board and she helped watch the daycare kids. So this is my story. And I sat in a laundry room with an old ratty desk with those big old computers. We had one computer in that laundry room for 4 months straight. Of course I'd come out and help her, but I mean, it was 4 months sitting there like 10 hours a day till I learned how to market online. And I reverse taught myself how to code like little HTML code. So I built my own website. And I learned how to generate leads on eBay for 99 cents. That's how I got my start. And I spent like 22 grand in scams on a credit card to figure it out, you know? And I got started and my career's just gone like that. You know, I've gone around and I've tried and done everything and I've had massive success in some areas and I've had shit success in others. Like it's just, it's one of those things. And what I do now is I teach people how to put together a simple course. I've been teaching this course for 10 plus years on and off. I made some massive changes in the last 8 months. And that's what I do is truly teach people passive income, if you will, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I think people should have to work as hard as they do. I don't. I think people need to be able to like, I'm more back to the roots, you know, spend time with your family, like build a solid business, give back. And that's really like at a low level of what I aspire to help people do, but I hope that helps.
Well,
there's
absolutely.
So much more, you know.
There's so much more. Now you said you touched on a couple of things there. We won't go into the holy underwear anymore. I think we chatted about that enough already, right? Yeah. So you went through pretty much, it sounds like you got your back up against the wall. Like, it's like, all right, it's this, or I got to go, I don't know, work at McDonald's or something, or go back to the telecom where you're at, where you weren't happy, but you got your back up against the wall and you're like, all right, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to get this nanny and I'm going to sit around and I'm going to figure this out.
That's
right?
my personality. Like, yeah. I literally am that kind of person. I will stay up till 5 a.m. to figure something out if I want to figure it out. Mm-hmm. Like, you know, when new marketing things come out, I reverse engineer them. I'm that person. And then I add my own twist and I figure it out. And if it works, then I teach all my clients.
Nice. See, and that's the winning thing. I think it's one of the things I think a lot of people might be missing, right? So they go out there and I'm going to talk about, you know, that shiny object syndrome, right? Oh, here's this new cool course. Let me go get it. It's only $27, and we know what that means. That means it's $47 for the upsell, and then $97 or $9.97 for the real information, right? But they take that in, and they're like, okay, well, that didn't work. They don't spend the time like you're talking about and try and figure out why it didn't work, or like you say, back engineer. Does that make sense?
Well, it does, and the real truth of it is, like, I teach this thing I've been doing for 10 plus years. It's called the 7 Touch series, right?
Mm-hmm.
I teach it in my course because it's all about authentic relationship building. But at the end of the day, if it doesn't work for them, it's because they didn't put the time into it to like really learn how to do it. So I think that's part of it. But I think the other part is the fact that there's a lot of shit courses out there too.
Yeah.
That they only give you a part of it. They don't give you the real thing, right? Like there needs to be more responsibility in our industry to make sure people get the results. I'm not about people, charging $1,000 for something and then they're not willing to like stand behind it and make sure their people get the results.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. And I will plant my flag in the ground on that.
Well,
I'm not afraid.
And I think we need more folks like you out there. I've been lucky enough to chat with probably, I'll say 23 now. You'll be number 24. The folks that have that same mentality. It's like, dude, you can do this. You just have to stop working with those shit folks, right? And get the real folks in there and say, and like to your point, put in the work. I'm sorry, you're not gonna get the mansion and the Mercedes and the beautiful man or woman if you don't put in the work. It just doesn't happen.
No, it doesn't. I mean, here's the bottom line. I have a team of 7 people now, right?
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I am to the point in my life where I'm like, in the next 10 years, I literally want to be a pioneer, not an expert, a pioneer where my business is self-sustaining to the point where I can go spend 6 to 8 figures helping and doing projects that are passionate to me, like sex trafficking. 24 years ago, I think, is it 24 years, I met my husband and I said to him, when I retire, I want to be that grandma sitting behind a computer. I want to learn how to really code, not just C code and HTML. And I want to be on the dark web because I know how to get on the dark web. And I want to catch those mofos that are trafficking those young boys and girls. And now it's a thing, but back then. And I'm not doing that yet. I'm going to be doing that, but at a much larger scale. So like, really, you can't do that kind of stuff unless you're willing to put in the work and like you really manage your time. And time is of essence, and you're freaking ethical. If you're not ethical and you don't have integrity, then you're shit and you shouldn't be doing what you're doing.
Well, and there is a big thing, and I want to come back that be ethical part, but I'm going to make myself a quick note right here so I don't forget. I want to spin back and dig a little bit deeper on. You said you want to be a pioneer, not an expert. What does that mean to you? Explain to me the differences in those two in your eyes?
Right. So to me, a pioneer is someone that starts like you're creative in the sense that you might start a company and you build it to the point that it's self-sustaining, and then you're on to the next thing. An expert to me is someone that's really awesome and they're an expert at their craft, but they stay an expert at their craft. Like they're content being an expert. I'm not. I'm more of someone, I could run multiple companies and have other people run them for me. Does that make sense? So
yeah, I get you there. Where the expert is saying, hey, I'm going to have this one company and I'm going to be the best at that. And they're going to be doing that one thing you're saying.
They're an entrepreneur and their name is on it, but they have to be present in order for the company like they can't die and the company will still run. So, it's interesting. I did a video on this today, and I think that you'll enjoy what I have to say, because what I said is like, your time is your most precious commodity. Your time, how you spend your time determines how much money you make. And then your money determines what you buy or what you spend your money on to live your best life, right?
Right.
So for me, my time is like my most precious thing. So last February, I flew to Spain. I was invited to speak at an event. And so I had been percolating all this, and it was really in alignment. And so I came back, and over the past 8 months, I've been weeding out partnerships, collaborations, changed my business and everything to the point where my mind isn't on all these little things out there. I'm really laser focused. And what's happening is it's opened up space in my business where people are coming into my business or in my sphere that are the exact people that I need to help me build this legacy. Like, I'm telling you, my husband had someone reach out to him that is worth $100 million and wants to do a collaboration with him. And I've met him and his wife. They're normal, wonderful people, and their kids. And we have people like that in our lives that could help finance some of the things that I want to do for these these bigger projects.
Mhm.
And I'm not saying that he's going to be the person, but I'm just saying that when you open up your life and you change the way that you view things and look at things from a different paradigm shift, even during crappy times like COVID, which I actually think is a blessing, life will shift and life will change. And that's what a pioneer is.
Gotcha. No, that's well said. Now let's come back to that be ethic thing.
Yes.
And I'm a big fan of this. And for me, one of the things about being ethical is not portraying being someone that you're not. And I don't even mean that in the sense of an expert or a pioneer or a guru or a coach. It's like just being you, right? Me, I'm the beardy guy. I'm a rock and roller, I'm a 50 half century old man, and I'm just me, right? So I think that's part of the ethics, and you go out there and you speak your truth. Tell me your position on the ethical piece you mentioned.
Well, I think the ethical piece, you speak your truth and you share your story. And I think that, but you also, there's another piece to this, and I don't know if you can relate as much, or you may relate to this, but I work with a lot of women.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, what I've seen is, I think that you should be able to relate to women from an emotional point of view, but I also think there's women out there that use the emotional point of view as a hook, and they groom other women and they take advantage of them. These women that spend thousands of dollars and they get bilked out of their money and they don't get coached the right way, or they don't get good programs. And I've seen it over and over again. And that's not ethical to me. That makes me infuriated. I don't like that. That's not ethical. So don't use bullshit, to like reel someone in, and then you don't deliver.
Right. Don't use those emotional hooks, so to speak, to hook someone in. Yeah. Not
in a bad way. Now, on the flip side, you also have people that are so emotional, they don't follow through and do the work. So that's on them. So you kind of have to, tread that fine line. But that to me is totally unethical. And I just gave an example, right? Just be who you are. Mm-hmm. I don't proclaim to be perfect. I don't, even when I teach people things, I'm like, my brain goes a million miles a minute. So I'm going to share with you my strategy, pick one thing out of my strategy and implement it, because I do too much and I'm trying to pare down myself. Right. Right.
Well, and you were just talking about how when you started paring down, more things started coming into your sphere of influence. So now it's helping you move your vision forward, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
All right. So I'm gonna ask a different question here. I'm gonna start making part of the show. Is have you ever? And when we first started, you said you liked the Dark Horse name, and it kind of what it entails. Have you ever felt like that dark horse?
You're now listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
I think, yes, I have, like, where I'm just stuck kind of thing, and I feel like I'm, and I will tell you, I think that's all in my own mind, though, because I am the person, and it's like I tell my husband, I only know two other people that have a mind like mine. Mm-hmm. One is my son and one is my brother, maybe my grandfather, where our mind is cray. Like I gotta say, my mind is cray. I never stop thinking, but I'm the most emotional person I know. I literally do this like 200 times a day.
Nice.
So I think being in my own mind, and I've trained myself. I don't take medication. I don't need any of that. I've trained myself, and I'm very stubborn. So I'm stubborn enough to train myself to get my crap together. But I tell you, because I'm such an emotional person, that dark horse can come and go on any given day multiple times. Right. Right. Do you understand what I mean?
I think I do. Absolutely. I mean, there's a 1 minute you're feeling like, man, I can't do this. And then you kind of crack the whip on yourself like, I'm going to do this, or I got this. You. Yeah. Right.
Thank you.
No, I hear you. Absolutely. All right. So we know you've got some bigger goals. You mentioned some of the big things the big realm of things you want to do, even outside your business, which I thought was really cool, because I think that really pushes us past the making money part of it. A friend of mine, Zachary, I don't know if you're aware of Zach Babcock, right? So he has a mission to reduce the recidivism rate here in the United States. But he's doing that that's the beyond goal, right? That's his ultimate goal. So to do that, he's got to be influential. He's got to, earn a little coin along the process, and start integrating with some other folks. And you were mentioning obviously the sex, trafficking piece of things. Do you think that really kind of helps give people the additional drive beyond the almighty dollar?
Well, for me, it does.
Sure.
And I think for people like Zachary or yourself or myself, absolutely. But I think, I think that it's a special kind of person. And I don't mean that in a like special, we're special. I just mean
Right.
that, you have to being an entrepreneur is not easy, first of all. Second of all, you have to be able to have a big vision. And third of all, you have to know when to get your ass out of your own way. I have a mentor. Right? She does 8 figures. She's 31 years old or almost 31. This woman cracks the whip. She cracks my ass and I let her do it. And I'm a strong personality. And she calls me to the carpet multiple times. And you have to be willing to pivot quickly and change and learn to grow like in your own self too. Mm-hmm. So I think that it's a special kind of person that can do all of those things at once and keep moving it. And when you lose a ton of money, you can still pick your ass up and move forward and go.
Dust yourself off, right? Yep. Start going forward. No, and those are big times, because those are usually the times so many folks, and I'll put myself in there for a minute. They're all like, "Oh God, that was brutal." Okay, cool, that's brutal. But I think at the end of the day, if we have the mindset of, all right, it's feedback, not failure. Yeah. All right. I lost money. I lost an account. I lost a client, whatever. I lost a relationship. I lost a house, a car. It's all feedback, right? Like you said, you went through all your stuff, with everything. And you finally said, you know what? I'm going to figure this crap out, right? I'm going to do this. And you spent those 4 months knuckling down. So let's cruise back in here into the business world for a minute. And I know you have probably a wealth of tips to share. Before we go there, if there was one thing you wanted to learn about, and maybe you're working on this, right? There's something out there you want to learn about. It could be that facial recognition we were chatting about earlier, or anything else. If there's something out there you want to learn about, what might that be?
Well, here's something that's been rattling way back in my mind.
The dark recesses.
Yes, I know about funnels. I know about ManyChat. There's Facebook, all the social networks, MeWe, TikTok, all of that. So I'm wondering, then we were talking about this facial thing I was telling you about. What is that next thing? This may sound crazy, but I want to know what that next thing is, that next tech and lead gen thing that's coming out, because I want to be on the forefront and I want to be there and I want to do that thing, because that thing is the thing that I think is going to like take my business to where that big, huge, audacious goal I have that I will achieve, by the way.
Right.
I want to know what that thing is. And I think it has something to do with like massive technology, like technology shifts that are in their infancy right now.
Right.
That like in the next year are going to come out and I'm going to be like, whoa.
So
I didn't see that coming.
So if I hear you're talking about something like, I don't know, the next iPhone or the next whatever, it could be just online technology, right?
But here's the thing, and here's what's really interesting, and I'm going to just share this with you. So
Sure.
my husband is looking at doing a more of a traditional business, and I'm like, there is something to be said. It's not just the brick and mortar type of business, and then you bring it, you advertise online. I think there's something to be said for it kind of being like this integration, like this new technology of some sort. Like you can even, did you know, my husband's in the construction industry, that you can actually go into someone's house now with your phone or your whatever and do a whole bid on their house for, like, if you want to paint their house, you can just do I'll just use Zoom, like we're on Zoom. You can actually do that and figure out the square footage and what needs to be painted and put together a bid without ever even being inside their house. That's what I'm talking about. That's really minuscule, but something like on that level where people are actually running a brick and mortar business in an online way. Right.
Nice. Yeah, I hear you.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, I think there's this big shift coming, and I want to be on the forefront. So
Well, yeah,
you want to
yeah.
know what I do at night? I get on Reddit. I get on all these like forums that are obscure and I read.
What I just heard you say is because you know something's on the horizon and you're hungry to be on the cusp of it, you do your research, right?
Yeah.
You're out there looking for whatever that might be, right?
Yeah, even the most outlandish crap, I read it because you know what? All the stuff I never thought was true or that was whatever, look what's coming around in our world today. It's like, wow, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't discount anything anymore. Like everything's on the table.
Nice, nice. Now, what's the biggest thing you fear when it comes to business? Maybe not your business specifically, but maybe just business in general.
So I think the biggest thing I fear is people that become obsolete that don't know how to like turn things around. So I feel lucky for my age. I'm 51 and you're in your 50s too.
Sure.
We're tech savvy because when it came out, when I like jumped on it, you know, I've always liked tech, but like there's people that are our age that can barely turn on a computer. Can you imagine in a
Yeah.
year or 5 years from now how quickly the world has shifted in the past 8 months, how that's going to shift? And there's all these people out there that don't know how to pivot and they're scared and they have a hard time learning because they have fear. How that's going to impact these people just in a regular
Sure.
regular professional world. How are they going to make it? How are they going to take care of their retirement, their kids, their families?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing I worry about is all these young, you know, early 20s. They're really smart on the computer. They're really smart on the social networks, but a lot of them lack, you know, they don't have the close friendships with people. Like they can't close their phone down and go sit and have a conversation. And that can be hard. And we're seeing a lot of issues there. Thank God I raised my boys, you know, they're 16 to 21. And we talk about that stuff. I make them turn their phones off and go have a conversation.
Sure. And that loops back to what you were talking about earlier about nurturing relationships, right? That's a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, tech is going to be advancing at lightning speeds, and we're not going to be able to stop that. But I think at the same time, to your point, we have to continue to connect with each other. And maybe we use tech to do that, right? We use things like Zoom and StreamYard and Facebook Live to have those connections. Yeah.
You're right with that, but I think it's going to go deeper. I think the tech is going to evolve to the point where it feels like you're real, like you're right here. Not Zoom is great, but I think it's going to be so much more. But I wanted to ask you a question.
Please.
To the point that you said about authentic relationships. How you and I connected, and you said something to me, and I don't remember exactly what, but it was something to the effect of I didn't just leave and run. You remember that? We connected about my course, and you said, oh, I need another course. And then I said, well, that's fine. And we started having a conversation.
Yeah, I do remember that. We bantered back and forth on Facebook for a bit, and here's where I went with that is so many times when I get engaged on Facebook, and maybe other folks you can probably relate to this too. Someone will start chatting with you for the sole purpose of selling you something. Right. And even after you got well, you know, that's all great. That's not where I want to go with you on in the conversation. You continued the conversation. You didn't, you know, jump ship and run, which I thought was uniquely human, because so many times I'm like, oh, thank you so much. I'm not interested in that. And then they're gone, right? You never hear from them again. It's like, okay, well, great. You just wanted my $27 or whatever. Fine. That's right. Move on. I don't want to spend my time on you. Like you said, our time is precious, but you continue the conversation. So obviously you understand the importance of human connections.
Well, exactly. So I look at it like the 3 C's, which I know you've heard: connection, collaboration, or client. Just because someone doesn't become a client doesn't mean that they can't become an incredible connection or a collaborator. Because if I give my very best to you, for example, for conversation's sake, guess what's going to happen? You're going to go out. You could go out and just be a connection and take any tidbit of what I taught you or shared with you and make a change in your life or business, and that impacts you, your family, and other people. So I just made the world a better place. That's
one of the reasons I said, you know, we've got to get you on the show, because as I, you know, continue to look around at what it is you do, you know, and follow some of your stuff on Facebook and on your website, I'm like, all right, first off, she impressed me by the fact that she didn't just cut bait and run in the conversation. And then obviously you continued to, you continue everywhere I look at you online to exude that integrity and that honesty, and like, hey, this is me. If you want to come learn from me, cool. If not, I'm going to keep talking about it anyway.
That's what I do.
There you go. And that's probably, for me, I think that's probably one of the solid foundations for your success, because it's you, right? You're not trying to be something else and put up this facade and say, hey, look, I got the Porsche and I've got this or whatever, right?
Well, I don't really, honestly, my husband loves that stuff. I could care less. I mean, I could
Nice.
buy at Target or whatever. Like sometimes I go to Walmart, whatever. I'm not one of those kind of people. I just don't care.
Exactly. No, I hear
Sorry,
you.
but it's the real truth. And I'm overweight. Like I need to lose 20 pounds. And sometimes I have my jammies on and my nice shirt. Not today. I actually got dressed. I actually have late on today.
Yeah, well, I dressed down for you. I wore my it says on it, "Open your mind before your mouth" T-shirt. So we're just going casual today. All right, so let's give our listeners a gem, something juicy. So if you had a top tip for one of our listening entrepreneurs, what would you want to share with them, other than all the other gold you've already shared?
Get really good at one traffic source.
Ah, okay.
Okay. So get rid of all the stuff that's not working or make a change. So I'll share with you really quick. May 2019, I've had a blog for 8+ years. I was doing a little Pinterest, 200,000 views a month. I had a good lady, she'd been taking care of my Pinterest for a year. And I'm like, you know what? There's got to be more to this. If I'm going to keep the blog, I need to drive some traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like really digging deep into my blog. I was working on it the night Trump won in 2016. So I knew from that time, so that was like almost 3 years. I'm like, I've been at this, like I had it for 8 years, but I've been really trying to work on it for 3+.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you know what? The election, it's going to be in 1.5 years, and I'm still sitting here.
Okay.
So I decided that day, my niece was graduating from middle school, and I was down in San Diego. I was going to do something different. So I went and hired a mentor. I took a course from a mentor that was good. And then I took another course, and I got to work, and Pinterest became my number one traffic source. Because I started focusing on it. Now I've had all these other ones going for a long time, but what I'm saying is one thing at a time. As of today, do 3.6 million views a month on Pinterest.
Nice.
Which drives a shiz ton of traffic to my blog, which then drives traffic to my course and a couple other things I do that are all related. So the point is I think for me, I would say focus on one traffic source at a time until you got it, it, whether it's, Facebook ads, LinkedIn ads, I don't care what it is.
Right.
TikTok, like Red Jill Pedersen. I mean, she freaking kicks behind on TikTok. And then if you don't know how to do it right, get it paid for it. Get a course, hire a mentor that's good, that's reputable, not a piece of crap.
Right.
And do the thing.
There it is. Find a good traffic, or focus on a good traffic source. And I think that's key. And it kind of loops back to what I mentioned earlier about the darn shiny object syndrome. We're like, okay, well, I'm going to start this. Ooh, what's that over here? And all of a sudden you're going in these 8 different directions and you're not doing any of them very well. I've been lucky enough to have dug into a couple of them. I got really good at Facebook ads for quite a while for a client, and it was good. But again, that's all I was focused on. I was just in that one arena saying, okay, I'm going to figure this out. And then we shifted to Amazon, and we got good at that. And then that just skyrocketed. Now we were able to put the two together because we knew we were really good at both, and say, now let's make these two work together. And I think the wheels almost flew off. The car was driving so fast.
That's amazing. So do you do Facebook ads now?
I haven't done Facebook ads of late. It really, starting about last year, I started seeing some of the ROIs just really slow down. And we were getting 18, 12 was like a bad day, but we were, it would say 12 to 24, averaging around 18 ROAS, so return on ad spend. So we were getting, $18 back for every dollar spent. And that was in the apparel industry, which is really tough, right? So when you started seeing it go down below in 8 and 7, you're like, okay, Everyone's jumped on the bandwagon now. So now we got to, shift around. And this is where you're talking about when things go bad, you got to pivot. It's not the end of the road. You just got to start going down a new road, right? We had to get good. You had to get good at something else. I can remember at the start of my career, and, we're both in our 50s. So that was quite a while ago. I was doing catalog. Well, as we all know, catalogs, are a dying breed.
Yeah.
They're not. I mean, even Victoria's Secret got out of the catalog. So yeah, you gotta be good at that source. And when the source dries up, you could say, "Oh, well, it's time to pivot. Let's move." Or to your point, I think when you get good at that one, then you can start looking at the next one, right? So that you don't have all your eggs in one basket. Does that make sense?
It does. And I think the biggest thing too, and this is a lesson I'm currently learning, is being willing to, like, say, for example, my Pinterest, I don't let one stinking person touch my Pinterest.
Mm.
And I'm like, okay, this is my growing edge. I've got to be comfortable finding someone good that I can outsource it to, so I can move on to the next thing, right?
Yeah.
But I still haven't found that person, because I'm so particular, because,
Yeah, well, you're doing $1 million plus, so you definitely want to be particular. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. Any final thoughts you'd like to leave our dark horses with? I do know you mentioned you had an offer for our crowd. We want to make sure we get that in there too.
Yeah. What was my offer? I don't even remember.
I don't remember. I didn't see what it was in the email, but you did say yes. If it's something we need to loop back to, I can make sure it gets in the show notes.
If you go to simple-profit.com, I have like 5 checklists that are all entrepreneur related. And I also have a free Instagram guide, how to get your first 5,000 Instagram followers. That's all organic and not scamish and not bullshit. That works. That's how I built my Instagram. So those are a couple things.
Okay. I'll definitely, we'll get those links in the show notes so people can just click on that directly. But any final thoughts you want to share before we,
I'm so grateful. Thank you. My final thought is be authentic, be real, have integrity, show up, do the work, and you will have success.
And there it is. We can't get any better than that. Angela, I definitely appreciate your time hanging out with us today. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. All right. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Angela Giles diving into the deep end of the pool here at the Dark Horse HQ. Here's some thoughts I walked away with. Thought number 1, find your motivator. What is it that is going to push you, to drive you, to whop you upside the head day in and day out? See, with Angela, you heard it again, yet another, hey, I tried a few different things type of story. She was earning 6 figures, but wasn't happy. She wasn't seeing her kids enough, right? She was missing that family connection, right? So she started a daycare, which was successful, but it wasn't resonating with her. She tried MLM. But after trying and dipping her toe in all these different businesses, what ended up finally pushing her wasn't any of these individual businesses. It was her holy underwear experience, right? Remember when she had that garage fire and she was walking out across that ladder, or maybe crawling out across that ladder? That holy underwear experience motivated her and pushed her to do something different. She knew she had to do something different. Is there something talking to you, telling you that you need to head in a better direction or a different direction? Or perhaps you're headed in the right direction, but you're being a little heavy-footed on the brakes, right? It's stalling your advancement. Is your motivator whopping you upside the head? Well, then listen to it. Move forward in your business and your life. Thought number 2. If it's not working for you, have you put in the time? Have you put in the work? Now, I think for this one, we're not talking about those blousy, cheapy, no value add courses or the informational products that we've seen all over the internet and on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and everywhere else. No, I'm asking about that one product where you did your research. You saw the value add. You asked even, those previous clients and customers who've experienced it. You heard independent testimonials. Well, that's good speaking. Those independent testimonials. Then you jumped in with your wallet or PayPal and nothing. You didn't get the results that anyone else did. You didn't see the windfalls or the accolades or the hordes of traffic you were supposed to get. But then again, I would pause and ask you, did you apply all the effort that you needed to make it work? Did you throw yourself into it 150%? Or perhaps maybe you just tried the first few steps. Those first few steps that wasn't too hard to do. And then you got to that first hard one and you kind of, dipped out. Or perhaps you combed through the program. You're like, oh, this is cool. And you did all the steps that you were comfortable with, right? Oh, I can do that. Well, that's easy enough. And you thought, ooh, here's the thing that's going to do the most. I'm going to get the most results from it. And you tried that one thing. Here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, when courses are laid out, they're laid out with, the initial foundation. What happens if you build a house on a foundation of sand? Yeah, I don't even need to finish that one, right? You know what it is. The damn house isn't going to be worth crap. It's not going to be worth the wood that you built it with. See, when you step into a program, a job, a relationship, or a role, you have to get in there and you have to do it all. 150%. You got to get your hands dirty. You're going to have to make mistakes. You're going to have to fix those mistakes. You're going to have to do things and then redo things and perhaps even go all the way back to the beginning and start all over again and say, where did I veer off course? And then with your newfound knowledge and your desire to win, you figure it out, my friend. Or perhaps you get a mentor or a coach to help you. All right. Thought number 3. Do you want to be an expert or a pioneer? I haven't put any deep thought into this particular question before, but let's take a moment, shall we? Do you want to be an expert in a particular field or topic? Or do you want to be a pioneer? That pioneer like she described as firing a company on a topic or a field, and you get it up and running, and you lay out all the groundwork, right? You get everything set up. You start putting people into place. Maybe they are the experts in the topic and in the key fields, and you fill those roles. And once that thing is up and running and humming like a finely tuned engine, what are you doing? Yep, you're off to the next adventure. Now, to me, really, whether you want to be an expert or a pioneer, it's kind of a personal question. And when it is a personal question, there's really no right or wrong answer. Right? I think the key is you have to be honest with yourself. It all comes down to what do you want and what are you really good at? Thought number 4, what is next? And I think this is really about tech, right? We had a little time we spent on tech. And it's not just the physical tech. It could be the digital tech. And you think about it, it's wise for us entrepreneurs to keep an eye out there for what is next when it comes to all that amazing tech that's coming down the pipeline, right? We see it every day. Oh, here's the next new thing. Here's the next new thing. But what is the next new thing that we already have? Let me rephrase. What is the new thing that we already have, right? Not the next new thing. It's some new thing you're like, hey, I could use that. And you already have it, right? You're already paying some monthly $5 fee for it or whatever it is. Maybe you just bought it outright. There's so much out there that if you step back and ask, how can I use this piece of tech to make my prospect's life, my client's life, or my life easier? How do I sell them more? How do I advertise to them for less? How do I help them reach their goal faster? How do I help them learn more effectively? Whatever helping means to you, how can you use what you already have now to make things stronger, faster, better, more effective, right? In a more streamlined fashion. Sometimes that is going to mean stop looking at all the new bells and whistles and look at the ones you already have and reshape the way they're being used. Then, once you have that dialed in, then you ask yourself, what is the weakest link in my process? And of course, you're going to know that, right? Because you have all your KPIs. Your key performance indicators are going to tell you where the weakest link in your chain is. You are the weakest link, right? Now, armed with that knowledge, you can step forward and look for a shiny new tool to fix that part. So now you can go out there, find that new toy or that new tech and get that dialed in, then rinse and repeat. And finally, I couldn't go without mentioning this: connection, collaboration, and client. The 3 C's of business. And if you think about it, I think it's the 3 C's of life. Making connections with those that will carry us through our life or our business, be it a long portion of your life or business, or a day, or even just a minute. To collaborate with those who we've made those connections with in our life and in our business to improve ourselves, our situation, their situation, be that personal or professional. And then to build on that collaboration to create a personal relationship or to make them a client. See, no matter how you cut it, at the end of the day, it's all about the people we touch. And not only how we touch them, but how deeply we touch them. Whew, there we go. Dark Horse going deep today, right? All right. What ideas or inspiring tips resonated with you in this episode? Whatever they were, take some time today and put them into action. Go out there, run your race, get your results, and let me hear about them. Seriously, I want to hear about them. Just email me at Tracy@DarkHorseSchooling and share the tips or ideas that you came away with, how you put them into action, and what results that you gained from them. Our next interview episode's guest is going to be Jake Anderson, and he's going to continue this deep end of the pond, you could say, that we just got finished swimming in. Jake is going to chat with us about how resistance is a signal, and that business in all its complexity, and when you can just break it down, and when you get right down to it and you break it all down to the brass tacks, it's all about those human connections. Now, I know you want to keep getting these valuable tips and inspirational stories from this podcast and all the people I'm able to be lucky enough to bring on here. So please go on down there, hit that subscribe button. While you're there, drop us a 5-star rating, leave us a quick review, leave us some kind words of what we're doing good and what we could do better to make this more valuable to you. Speaking of value, you don't want to keep all this entrepreneurial GOLD all to yourself. Share the podcast with other entrepreneurs and business owners that you know will get value from it. And with that, I'm going to leave you as I always do. Think successfully and take action.
Thank you for listening to the Dark Horse Entrepreneur Podcast.
Thanks for tuning in.
Check us out at www.darkhorseschooling.com.
All right.
My name is Tracy Brinkman.